Welcome to another edition of the Michigan Sports Legacy Conservancy LegacyCast. You can hear all about sports here as we take a look at today's current sports events and give it a historical perspective here on the Michigan Sports Legacy Conservancy LegacyCast. I'm Jim Stark, the Executive Director. I'm joined today by someone I can't believe I'm actually bringing back to the airwaves, and that's my longtime radio partner and foil, Al Fellhauer. Al Fellhauer, can you believe I've invited you to join me to come be on the camera? Isn't that nice of me?
That's very nice of you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm doing it because your son asked me to as a present to him. No, that's not true.
No, he wouldn't. No, he would not.
Al
He would
Fellhauer
avoid
and I
that.
have been talking sports since for over 25
94,
years.
1994.
And Al Fellhauer, as much as I kid him, has always been a pretty good purveyor and witness of sports. And so, Al, I got to ask you, knowing where your heritage is from, wait, see, I can smell you from Ohio. It's still, that stench is still around on him. But the era of your guy, Urban Meyer, is over. And of course, now Jim Harbaugh will never get a victory against him. How does that make you as Mr. Ohio feel?
Well, I think that Urban, I think that the gentleman that they have replacing him has had many job offers over the last 3 years.
Was
he has stayed
Was he
there.
the coach in waiting?
Yes, and he coached, of course, the first 3 games last season. And Urban, I think, was really going to stick around for one more season. But I think the pressure was too much on Ray to get another job.
Well,
so they wanted to keep him. They don't want to lose him.
But his health is not great, right? Urban Meyer's health. I mean, there's an issue with his.
Yeah, well, a lot of Michigan people think he's faking it, but
no, I believe it's true.
No, he does. I mean,
Yeah,
I thought he was going to die on at the one game when he went down to his knees.
Well, you and I have been to some of those games together. There's no greater rivalry in any college sport for sure. But let's face it, after a real great run of Michigan dominance back in the Earl Bruce days and of course Lloyd Carr, since then it's been all Ohio State.
Yeah, the Earl Bruce stage, of course, is when I moved to Michigan from Columbus, and it was different. I was coming here after they'd been to the Rose Bowl 4 straight years, and I was all pumped up, and I got deflated real fast because I think they lost like 4 of the next 6.
Right.
And they had trouble scoring in their own stadium. 22-0 loss down there.
They had some coaching problems too, right? They made a couple of mishires.
No, not really.
Well, John Cooper was never really thought as a good hire, was he?
He has the best record in Ohio State history before Urban Meyer came along.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah, he has but he didn't beat Michigan.
Right.
Similar to the situation Michigan has today. Yeah.
In reverse, right?
Yeah.
You can win all you want, but if you don't beat.
He would bring teams into this big house down the street here. He would bring them in here, number 1 or number 2 in the country, on their way to winning a national championship, and fall flat on his face.
Right. That's very similar to this year.
Very
Jim
similar.
Harbaugh.
Very similar.
Well, but you remember? See, and I never.
I can't ever remember a 15-year stretch like this. Though.
Right. Because even when Bo and Woody first really started it back in when Bo got here in 68,
Yeah.
It was pretty even for the Bo and Woody years,
Yeah,
right?
69 was his first year, and they ended up. I think he was 5-4-1.
Right, very even with.
Yeah,
with
very
Woody.
even. But of course, the big one is still sticks in my craw is the 1969 game when Ohio State was the greatest football team ever put together. National champions in 68, come back to defend it in 69 and roll over everybody, and then showed up in Ann Arbor and forgot how to play football.
Well, is that much different than this year with Michigan playing all? I mean, Al, that was the most one-sided game in their history, wasn't it?
Yes, it is. It was the most one-sided
I mean,
game.
it was so dominated by Ohio State.
Well, and people miss this too. That's the most points ever scored against the University of Michigan.
Right.
62 points. And you know what? As I sat there and watched that game from my seat in the horseshoe, I'm thinking 62 might not even be enough to win this thing.
You know what that reminded me of? One of my favorite football stories of all time. Do you remember the story I'm going to tell?
Oh yeah, I know what you're going to. You're going to talk about Woodruff.
When Al and I were covering Eastern Michigan.
Was that an old place of Ray Scott's Temple?
It was, but yeah, this was wasn't it? Oh, was it Temple?
Yeah, it was a Temple.
So it was on the and the finals was like 65-55 or something like that. And Jeff Woodruff, who was the coach of Eastern at the time, said in the locker room, said, I can't believe I scored 55 points and lost or something like that.
I've never been associated with a team that could score 55 points and lose a football game.
And I think he left after that year too, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that is one of the great things about college football is you never can really predict what's going to happen.
Well, and the scores are getting out of hand nowadays because, one, the game has been made so pro offense. And with the overtime rules and not having any tie games anymore, you can go 5 or 6 overtimes, and that can add 40 points to each side if they each score each time.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Give me your 2 semifinal winners and then your final winner in this year's college football playoff.
Well, I think that, first of all, Clemson will win.
Clemson will beat Notre Dame.
Yep. I'm still not sold that Notre Dame's that good.
Remember we saw Brian Kelly that one time?
Yeah.
When he was coaching out at Grand Valley, we was
Yep.
going to get something out there.
Yeah, I got my opinions of Brian Kelly.
He was a good guy, though, right?
He's okay. He's not a Lloyd Carr. And he's
Well, if that's your standard,
yeah.
it's kind of high. So what's this other semifinal is what, Alabama and Oklahoma?
Yes, that'll be Alabama.
Okay, and then
Only reason it'll be Alabama is because they play just
because
a
you love Nick Saban,
no,
who are you
no,
kidding?
because they play just a tad of defense, and Oklahoma doesn't play
and
any
where's Nick
defense.
Saban from? What state? Oh my God, he's from Ohio.
He's from Toledo, Ohio, just like Urban Meyer and
That's what I thought.
Jim Harbaugh.
The cradle of coaches. So give me the final victory then, or the final victory. You got Clemson and Alabama.
Clemson.
And it's close. Clemson, really? Wow.
I think they've been the most consistent all season long, and had it's hard to say for an ACC team. I think they played a tougher schedule than Oklahoma, or than Alabama did. Alabama played some real cupcakes, and the Southeast Conference wasn't that strong this year, in my opinion, from top to bottom as they've been in the past. And I think Alabama kind of had a free ride through the whole thing, and I think they're going to be in for a shock. I think Clemson's going to come to play football.
All right. Let's take a real quick look at next year. Who wins next year's Ohio State-Michigan game back in the big house? give me your prediction right now. I'm going to hold you to it.
You're going to hold me to it?
It's
Well,
right
I say
here
no.
for posterity.
Well, I can see no reason why Michigan would win.
So you say Ohio State will continue the streak.
But a lot depends on that. It depends if the quarterback comes back at Ohio State.
Or if the quarterback comes back to Michigan.
Well, I don't think Michigan would lose as much as Ohio would lose. And it reminds me of the old Brady Hoke line that ran when he was here. People would suggest, why don't you call Urban Meyer and see if you can borrow a quarterback? Because he's got 3 of them.
Yeah, he did. I think he rolled
All in
them
the
out
same
there
season.
like they were cookie cutters, didn't he?
He sure did.
Yeah. Well, listen, Al Fellhauer, I want to thank you for joining us today on today's LegacyCast. You've done a pretty good job today, so I might ask you back. I'm not quite sure. I got to think about it, but I might ask you back for another one.
Well, is check in the mail?
You know what? It's the same check I've always given you for all the work we've done together. It's the same exact check.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us today for today's LegacyCast.
Gotta go to the Capuchin soup kitchen, I guess.
My longtime partner, Al Fellhauer, we'll be back. I promise you that. And you can watch all of our videos on our mislc.org website and go into LegacyCast and see the other ones we've done. So for Al Fellhauer, I'm Jim Stark. Thanks for joining us in today's Michigan Sports Legacy Conservancy LegacyCast.